Here it is, just as you requested. What may be the most significant karmic moment of 2025 has just befallen Rachel Zegler. Hundreds of astonished viewers were left reeling when the actress who wrecked Snow White with her controversial comments abruptly left the stage mid-performance on Broadway. And honestly, I'm not even surprised anymore. Please allow me to explain what happened, why Rachel is sobbing, and how.
Rachel Zegler makes a sudden exit from the stage during Evita. At the July 24th performance of the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical at the London Palladium, the celeb, who stars as the late Eva Perón in the musical, made a sudden exit from the stage without returning to kick off the second act.
This might spell the end of her career. If you're here, you've definitely heard the wild rumor that Rachel Zegler stormed off stage in the middle of her Broadway performance. For example, picture yourself shelling out hundreds of dollars for theater tickets solely to witness the lead actress sulk as she exits the stage. Listen, I don't think we're talking about your average theater drama here. Rachel Zegler, whose awakened remarks utterly demolished Disney's Snow White, is the same person. And now, it looks like karma is finally catching up to her. Believe me when I say that you will understand the significance of this incident beyond the scope of one bad night on Broadway once. You watched this film? Right, I'll give you the rundown on Rachel Zegler's story in case you don't know it all. Rachel is the actress that Disney cast as Snow White in their new live-action movie. Sounds innocent enough, right? Wrong. She went on interviews and really destroyed the original Snow White story, calling it obsolete and making all these contentious claims about how the new version would be different and more.
Keep talking about Snow White, because Disney's Snow White remake, the box office has suffered a 66% drop in the second weekend of showing. So the film's flop could end up costing Disney millions of dollars. We know that the movie is currently one of the lowest IMDb rated movies of all time, receiving a 1.6 out of 10 rating. It's generated $143 million globally to date, which is well short of the $250 million that Disney has spent producing the film, and that doesn't even include the marketing expense.
Empowering the internet completely lost it. People started boycotting the movie before it even came out. Hey, guess what happened? The movie was a terrible disaster. We're talking about empty cinemas, awful box office results, and Disney probably losing millions of dollars. But Rachel didn't learn her lesson. Instead, she moved on to Broadway, thinking she could revive her career with this Evita musical. Well, spoiler alert, it didn't go according to plan either. All right, fellas, let's dive into the meaty specifics of what actually happened on July 24th, 2025. So, Rachel had already done the afternoon show that day. The matinee performance. Everything appeared normal. She got through it absolutely fine. But then came the evening show, and that's when things went completely wrong. According to accounts from the New York Post, Rachel had performed earlier that day, but was unable to complete the night show due to illness. But here's where it gets fascinating. She didn't just call in ill before the show started. No, she was actually on stage performing and then suddenly disappeared during the first act. Can you picture being in that audience? You're sitting there, undoubtedly excited to witness one of the most renowned songs in musical theater. Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, and then boom, the lead actress just walks off stage right before the big moment. Like that's the song everyone comes to watch in Evita. The play had to pause for what they dubbed an extended intermission. I bet some in the audience were bewildered, checking their phones, wondering what was going on. Then came the announcement that nobody expected. Rachel Zegler would not be returning to the stage. Her understudy, Bella Brown, would have to take over for the rest of the show. You can actually watch some footage of what happened. Rachel Zegler makes an abrupt exit from the stage during Evita. At the July 24th performance of the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical at the London Palladium, the starlet, who plays the late Eva Perón in the musical, made an abrupt leave from the stage without returning to kick off the second act. It's very wild to see how quickly everything came apart. Now, Here's where things become really fascinating and, honestly, pretty suspicious. The official version is that Rachel left due to quote sickness. Her reps and various media sources, including Entertainment Weekly, all reported she was sick and had to leave. But come on, boys. Does that truly make sense to you? If you're unwell enough to leave in the middle of a performance, wouldn't you know that before getting on stage? And get this, there are recordings showing Rachel looking totally great immediately before she exited the stage. Music, it depicts Rachel appearing absolutely normal moments before things went wrong. The Broadway community on Reddit is having a field day with this story. Fans are claiming that Rachel was actually replaced mid-show due to a quarrel with the crew. Some individuals are alleging she got into a confrontation with someone backstage that led to her having some kind of collapse. Now, I'm not claiming that's certainly what happened, but that would explain a lot, wouldn't it? I mean, we've seen Rachel get into conflicts before, so it's not exactly out of character. After the incident, Rachel did post a supportive remark about understudies and swings in theater, which honestly felt a bit like damage control to me. The announcer in one report observed, "A proud day for swings and covers," as Brown herself noted on Instagram. But let's be real, no understudy once to have their big moment because the headliner had a tantrum. Okay, this is where I think things get really telling. Remember how I mentioned Rachel's Snow White tragedy earlier? Well, let me give you the entire picture of just how horrible the situation was. Have to keep talking about, Snow White. Since Disney's Snow White remake, the box office has experienced a 66% dip in the second weekend of showings. So the film's storyline could wind up costing Disney millions of dollars. We know that the movie is currently one of the lowest IMDb-rated movies of all time, obtaining a 1.6 out of 10 rating. It's produced $143 million internationally to date, which is considerably short of the $250 million that Disney has spent
Mid-Evita.
developing the film, and it doesn't even include the marketing expenses. Disney's Snow White suffered such low attendance that social media was practically swamped with photographs of empty theaters. By the fourth weekend, the movie had lost almost half its initial screenings. Can you imagine how embarrassing that must have been for everyone involved? Some theaters presumably pulled the movie early, only to make place for films that people truly wanted to watch. That's not just a flop. That's a complete and total disaster. And now, just months later, Rachel is having troubles with her Broadway production too. That's not a coincidence, guys. That's a pattern. Speaking of patterns, let's speak about what's been happening with Evita ticket sales. There have been speculations circulating around about low ticket sales because of all the awful press Rachel's been getting. And honestly, can see why some people might not want to support her after everything that occurred with Snow White. But here's the deal. Some sources like Deadline actually indicated that the show had excellent sales and high demand solely due to Rachel's star power in mid-2025. So which story is true? Well, I guess both might be partially right. Rachel undoubtedly has followers who will support her no matter what. But she also has a lot of people who are absolutely done with her following the Snow White scenario. There were some unique staging decisions that didn't sit well with traditional theater enthusiasts. Apparently, there were cases of singing outdoors for non-paying crowds, which angered others who legitimately paid for tickets. One tweet perfectly captures exactly how some people felt about the whole scenario. Rachel Zegler took ill midway through her Evita performance, but her understudy finished the show. I'll wager the audience didn't even notice. Ouch, that's really nasty, but it demonstrates how some people genuinely feel about her performances. You may watch another angle of her performance here. Applause. It's intriguing to compare how she appeared before everything went wrong. Now, let's dive into some of the more severe charges that have been circulating about. And folks, I want to be clear, these are simply rumors and allegations. But they're worth talking about because they help explain why people are so skeptical of the official disease tale. There have been claims of behind-the-scenes problems during rehearsals. Some individuals are reporting there were leaks showing Rachel being escorted off stage by security. Others stated there were creative conflicts with the director and charges of lateness, unapproved modifications, and animosity with both the actors and staff. Industry insiders have been discussing, and some leaked films reportedly depict unprofessional behavior on set. This is despite Rachel's public persona, where she always talks about being committed to the performance and loving theater. Now, here's the essential part. There's no official paperwork that explicitly links any alleged behind-the-scenes activity to her mid-show exit, but conspiracy theories are definitely rampant in fan spaces. And when you look at everything together, it starts to form a picture. I mean, think about it logically. If you're having problems with the cast and crew, if you're anxious about bad publicity, if you're dealing with the consequences from Snow White, and then you're on stage doing one of the most demanding parts in musical theater, something's got to give, right? Not everyone is against Rachel, though. She does have some backing in the industry. Nicola Coughlan, who you might know from Bridgerton, genuinely supported Rachel on her Instagram story. The tweet considers Nicola an icon for supporting Rachel, which indicates that there are still individuals in Hollywood who have her back. And to be fair, Rachel did earn a standing ovation on the opening night of her West End debut in Evita. So she's certainly gifted, and when things go well, people do love her performances. But here's what I find interesting. Even with some great reviews and industry backing, she's still grappling with all these challenges. It makes me wonder whether the issue isn't just about her talent, but about how she handles pressure and controversy. Guys, I think what we're seeing here is bigger than just one poor night on Broadway. This feels like a trend of Rachel not being able to handle the repercussions of her own choices. She made inflammatory statements about Snow White, suffered an enormous reaction, watched the movie flop, and instead of laying low and learning from it, she jumped right into another high-profile project. Now she's struggling with the burden of having to repair her reputation while performing one of the most demanding roles in musical theater. And when things got bad, whether it was illness, crew problems, or just overwhelming strain, she couldn't push through it. I'm not trying to be harsh here, but this is how the entertainment industry works. When you're a public figure, especially one who's been controversial, people are monitoring your every action. They're watching to see if you can bounce back or if you're going to keep having problems. So what does all this mean for Rachel Zegler's career? Honestly, I think she's in a really bad place right now. The Snow White tragedy already tarnished her reputation with Disney and popular audiences. Now, this Evita problem is damaging her credibility in the theater community too. The entertainment industry is quite merciless, especially when you start, acquiring a reputation for being difficult to deal with or unreliable, and whether the official story is genuine or not. The reality is that Rachel fled a Broadway production mid-performance, leaving the audience and her fellow cast members hanging. That's not something that gets forgotten easily in the theater. Business, producers, and directors talk to each other. And if there are issues about whether someone can be trusted to finish a show, that's going to hurt future opportunities. Look, I don't want to load on Rachel needlessly, but I think this situation is an excellent example of how actions have repercussions. When you make provocative statements and alienate your audience, it doesn't simply harm one project. It follows. You too, whatever you do next. The Snow White dispute wasn't just about one movie. It was about Rachel's mindset and how she portrayed herself to the public. And now, even when she's attempting to pursue something completely different like Broadway theater, those same challenges appear to be following her. Let me know your opinions in the comments below. I appreciate reading your opinions, and honestly, some of you come up with notions that I never would have thought of. If you loved this deep dive into the Rachel Zegler story, be sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more celebrity news and entertainment industry commentary. I've got some additional weird Hollywood stories coming up that you're definitely going to want to see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the future video where we're going to go even further into more Hollywood drama that you won't believe.